So in this video we're going to talk about how to solve absolute value equations. And before we do anything with them, let's solve a really simple absolute value equation. So absolute value of x equals 4. Now, so we got to think about what values could x be that would make this equal to 4. So if x equals 4, that would work. So absolute value of 4 is 4 because all the absolute value does is makes things positive. So the absolute value of 3 is just 3, but the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Sometimes you talk about this being like the distance from 0. So if you think about the number line and you got 0 in the middle and you got positive 3 on the right and negative 3 on the left, both of those have a distance of 3 from the middle, from 0. So both of them should equal 3. Now, so x could be 4 or x could be equal to negative 4. Those are the two values. So there's two possible solutions to almost all of these absolute value equations. Alright, so that's the main step, is you set the inside equal to 4 or the inside equal to negative 4. Or in general, you set the absolute value equal to whatever the positive version is, or the absolute value equal to the negative version. So before you can do any of that, you need to get the absolute value all by itself. So that means get the 5 out of there first. And so you get 3 absolute value 2x minus 3 equal to 9, and then get rid of the 3 also, divide the 3 over, and you get the absolute value of 2x minus 3 equal to 3. So if I didn't have something complicated, if it was just x, absolute value of x equals 3, you would set the x equal to 3 or the x equal to negative 3, just like we did here. So it's a little bit more complicated, but it's just 2x minus 3 equals 3, or 2x minus 3 equals negative 3. So that's our setup. That's the part that helps you solve the absolute value equations. And now you solve them like normal. You add the 3 over, and then you divide by 2. So 2x equals 6, so x should equal, once you divide by 2, 3. Or over here, you add the 3 over. And a lot of people want to say, well, the first one's 3, the other one's going to be negative 3. But it's not really. So 2x equals 0, divide by 2. If you divide by 2, 0 divided by 2, that's not no solution. It's no solution when the 0 is on the bottom. You're going to get 0. So two values are 3 and 0. And the way you check it, you plug them back into the original and see that they equal 4. You should always check your solutions whenever you're solving equations. So that's that one. And you're going to do the same thing with B. And I'm going to do C really quick, and I'll leave B to you guys. So you get the absolute value by itself, add the 6 over, add the 6 over. So negative 2 absolute value of 3a equal to 6, divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, and you get the absolute value of 3a equaling to just, well, 3. So now you set the inside, 3a equal to 3. Oh, sorry, this should be a negative 3 because positive 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. So you set the inside equal to what is valued, and then 3a equals positive 3. Okay. Now you get a to b. Well, in this case, divide by 3, you're going to get negative 1. Or you plug this one in, divide by 3, you're going to get a to equal negative 1. Sorry, positive 1. Now, there's nothing wrong with these values. There's nothing that makes you feel like it shouldn't work. But if we plug them in, let's see what happens. So you plug into the top. Start this. So negative 2, right where we started. Negative 1 times, 3 times negative 1. Minus 6. This should equal 0 if everything's right in the world. So let's see what happens. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. So negative 2, absolute value of negative 3, minus 6 equals 0, right? Well, absolute value of negative 3 is a positive 3. Negative 2 times a positive 3 would be a negative 6. But negative 6 minus 6 is not equal to 0. So that means that this solution doesn't work. Alright, well, let's try it again, but with the positive. Maybe this one doesn't, but this one does. So if I plug in a positive 3, that makes it a positive 1. Plug in a positive 1 instead of negative 1. It's a positive 1. So 3 times a positive 1 is a positive 3. But the absolute value of positive 3 is still a 3. So negative 2 times 3 is still negative 6. Minus 6 doesn't equal 0. So this one doesn't work. So that makes us say, well, should we check the other ones? Well, let's check this one and see if it does work. Let's check the 3. So 3 absolute value of 2 times 3 minus 3 minus 5 should equal 4. Okay, so what do we get? 6 minus 3 is 3. So 3 absolute value of 3 minus 5 should equal 4. The absolute value is 3, so 3 times 3 is 9 minus 5 equals 4. Oh, it works out. And if this is 0, our other value, 2 times 0 is 0, this becomes a negative 3, and you still get the exact same thing. So both of these check out. So what's the deal? You got to check them all. Once you solve 2, do you have to check that one? Well, not really. It's in this step right here. The absolute value of x is always a positive number. Always equals a positive, because the absolute value of positive is positive, the absolute value of a negative is positive. The second you get the absolute value equal to a negative number, you know it's no solution. You don't have to do any of this work down here, and you don't have to check it. So this problem should be 1, 2, and then no solution steps. So anytime you get the absolute value equal to a negative, it's going to be no solution. Now, I don't want to do all of part B, but it sure looks like you get the absolute value equal to negative. But our first step should be to divide by the negative 2. And if you divide by the negative 2, watch what happens. Give ourselves a little bit of room here. So divide by negative 2, and you get the absolute value of 5y minus 1 equaling to a positive 5. That's okay. It's not equal to a negative. You have to get the absolute value alone first. Alright, so finish up B and then try the practice problems on the next page.